Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you in the video. All right, so bunch of basketball stuff to talk about. Finally, I can get back to something I actually enjoy using my mouth to speak about. Finally, man. It's been a whole lot lately. First of all, unfortunately, it's not a whole lot of good news to start the conversation with. LaMelo Ball twisted his ankle. I don't know how he's doing, but judging by what I saw, it wasn't the worst kind of sprain. So I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but judging by what I saw, it didn't look like something that will take him out for the season. But then again, this is a tanking team, so an injury like this may actually hold him out forever. So um, we just hope for the best for LaMelo, and hopefully Mike can let him play. I know Wembanyama's out there, but let him play, Mike. So yeah, heal up, heal up. That's what I'll say. And also, of course, what else? There was some other stuff going on. It was another bad news thing, but if it isn't coming to mind, I guess we don't need to talk about it. All right, so let's move on. Houston Rockets. I really did really like what I just saw from their young team, even though they did lose against the Miami Heat. Shout out to the Miami Heat, who have some really nice players over there. Jovic Smith really popped off the screen, and they got the victory. So shout out to them. But my focus was on the Rockets because they got a lot of young talent over there, and this I've been talking about for about a year now. I've been telling you guys that I think they're one of the best young teams coming along, going forward, and we need to keep an eye on them. Well, I think Jalen Green is about to make a major jump. From what I just saw, a lot of those kids are about to make major jumps at once. This could be a playoff team, believe it or not. Like, if they figure out how to win, they're going to be scary because they are already athletically gifted, you know, mechanically gifted. They have some really high level talent. They just got to figure out how to put it together and win. And they haven't figured that out yet. But once they do, it's over because they're going to be very difficult to match up with. But Jalen Green looks fantastic. Terry Eason looks fantastic. He's turned into one of those players that I want on all of my fantasy teams, man, because he's a guy you do not have to call any plays for. He has a special understanding for where the ball is and where it's going to land. He finds himself in the right place at the right time. And he seems to be very efficient. He rebounds the ball well and just finds a way to needle through defenses and get into the paint to score the ball. Sort of like his counterpart there, Jae'Sean Tate. They kind of have that same knack where they just get into the paint and just do work. But Terry Easton is a bit bigger. And, what I'm seeing from him is something that could be really, really special. So they need to give him all the playing time in the world. In fact, he should probably be their starting three. Josh Christopher, they got to find a way to play him as well. They were just simply a better team with him on the floor. And what I saw out there down the stretch, he was making every shot, getting steals, just doing it on both sides of the floor. So I've always been high on Josh Christopher. He's one of those players that is probably in need of a role that allows him to be the starter and can spread his wings. But there will be opportunities for him to play and have huge role. You know what I mean? Because this is a talented team and he's a talented player. So I like what I saw there. The Bruno Fernando pickup, getting him at a good price, I think he complements the team very well. Just got a lot of good stuff, man. KPJ looked great out there. He's healthy, rolling. Guzman was getting boards and dunking on people. They just got a talented group of lottery picks. And Smith wasn't even out there to do damage, and I know what he can do. He went crazy in one of the preseason games previously, so hitting a bunch of threes and doing all that he can. So I'm excited about the Rockets, even though I'm obviously a Laker fan and don't have any allegiances outside of that. Looking at young teams that I like from year to year to year, I'm super excited about the Rockets going forward. They're going to be dangerous. And that's the thing. I am looking at teams that I'm really, really high on, and they're not your common names. In terms of like players that I want to fill my fantasy team up with, and some of the most productive teams that have multiple fantasy relevant players and stuff like that, they're not teams that you're used to really grabbing the most from. I find my fantasy teams are filled with Sacramento Kings, Orlando Magic, Cleveland Cavaliers. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the teams that are having very productive players. Houston Rockets. And don't really know exactly how good those teams could be. New Orleans Pelicans also in that mix. It's like, you look around and you realize these teams have been loading up lottery talent. And now some of the more productive players in the league just happen to be loaded up on these rosters. OKC, yet another one. Detroit got teams full of these players. So, what I'm wondering is, will any of these teams break out? Can any of these teams make the playoffs? I look at the Orlando Magic, and then I weigh their roster against the rest of the East, and I legitimately think that they're one of the top 10 teams in the Eastern Conference on paper. And it's like I'm doing double takes. I'm like, am I sure? Like, I'm looking at this, I'm like, am I sure? It's one of those. It's like, well, yeah, they got a little more depth than that team over there, and their stars, a little more young over here as well, and got a little more length to them, a little more strength to them. When you add a Paolo Banchero to the trio of young guards, even though they all seem to be getting hurt at once, hopefully everything will be cool with Jalen Suggs. He seemed like he hurt his knee again, so yeah, prayers out to him. But it's like, you look at these teams that they have really productive players, so it's like, can they put it together? Maybe they can start developing winning habits. But when you look at teams that may be tanking, it's like, obviously those teams can do it. But this is my thing, man. And I've already said this, and I hope this falls on the right ears. I really, really, really think this is important. A lot of these teams are going to be driving themselves to the bottom with the hopes of having the best chance at getting the first overall pick. But the NBA 2 years ago did set it up to where the last three teams have the same odds. In my mind, that doesn't necessarily mean that those three teams are to expect to have it fall to one of them. You see what I'm saying? When you look at odds that way and you see them split it up like that in that type of math, I think it's less likely any of those three teams get that pick. You see what I'm saying? They're less than the chances of any of those teams landing it. So it's like, if you're going to drive to the bottom, do expect that the team above you gets Wembanyama, is what I would tell you. You gotta continue to try to win. You gotta continue to try to develop the players with winning habits. And I think if you keep basketball first, and I know this is mantra stuff, maybe you don't subscribe to that, but if you keep the art of basketball first and you continue to try to develop players to win, you will be rewarded. You will be rewarded. And I firmly believe that as amazing as Wembanyama is going to be, if the team he goes to has a bunch of nothing, or they have players that have learned how to lose because of the tanking, what's going to end up happening, he's going to get to that team and he's going to hate being there because they're not going to have winning habits. Now, granted, that can be changed. You can trade this, trade that, get this, get that, and bring him a win now team, which that team should probably do. But I'm not sure that the team that is prepared to do that will ultimately be the team that inherits him because of this dynamic. So that's what I'm trying to drill into everybody's head. It's like Utah is moving heaven and earth to get the best opportunity to get Wembanyama. I almost expect him to go somewhere else. Like, I almost expect it. I hate to be a Debbie Downer for all the Utah Jazz fans. I hope the best for your franchise. And I don't care where Wembanyama goes. I'm watching. But if you're a tanking team and you have him on a team that sucks when he starts his career, don't be certain that he won't choose a different way to go. I mean, I don't expect him to come in shaking things up. I really don't. I don't think he's that personality. I think he'll come there and look to make it work. But anybody can be unhappy in a bad environment. And I think when you look to tank, you look at Philadelphia and see how they've gone in this process of doing that. It just has not worked out for them, man. I've seen different teams win the championship. The championship that they're after, teams that didn't have that path have gotten it since. And they're still chasing it, having tanked and given up all them seasons, letting all that lottery talent go by the wayside and not developing players so that they could continue to tank for lottery talent that they ultimately haven't won with. I just don't think it's not going to work. And in the presence of player movement and player empowerment in the world that Wembanyama is coming into, he is not going to have to stay in one spot for 7 years, like a lot of players will have to. Like, that's the general thing you think. It's like, okay, you're gonna stay there for your rookie contract, then you're gonna sign your first contract, and then you're gonna. His representation is going to automatically understand that that is not what they have to go through. They don't have to go through that. If they end up being drafted to a team that they don't want to be at, it's going to be one of those situations where they will have the leverage to move. Now, it's going to be hella hard to move him, but he will have the right to demand himself to wherever he wants to go. He really does have that type of leverage. So it's one of those situations where if he goes to the wrong spot and he's unhappy, he may want out. He may decide. You know what I mean? That's going to be something that the world around him has made normal for him. You know what I mean? That the players that have come before him have made normal for him. That's what I'm trying to express. So I'm not putting nothing on him. I'm not trying to get people to think, oh, Wembanyama's gonna come in and shake the room up. Nah, I don't know nothing like that. I'm just saying, if he ends up in a place that it sucks, the environment for which he would want to leave should be expected. So don't make it suck. That's basically what I'm saying. You know, do the right things to make sure that the players around him are going to have winning habits. That would be what I would say to that franchise. Have all the tanking franchises. Don't forget to develop who's there. You know, don't forget to develop who's there, man. That's it. Because I would hate to see one of y'all move heaven and earth to get Wembanyama just for him to just demand out 2 years after being drafted. Because everybody around him ain't no good. Because y'all did everything y'all could to tank and didn't prepare to win. That kid gonna want to win. I know that. I can tell. I can already tell. He's gonna want to win right away. He ain't gonna want to wait, nothing. I can already tell. He's sort of like Giannis, but only with respect to Giannis. Giannis had to develop for 7 years. Webb don't have to do that. Webb's ready right now. He's winning now. 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 I think he would be. Yeah, I'm comfortable saying he would be the best player on a championship team right now. This year. He could be that. He could be that. I believe that. So it's like, you know, I just wanted to put that in people's heads. The bottom 3 teams, you'd probably be best to be maybe just play your season out. If you know you're not going to be any good, just develop your players, let guys heal a little longer, you know. Do tank, but just don't ground level, man. Don't have guys going out there barely playing, not being competitive, letting the score get out of hand. I do not think the team that does that will land Wembanyama. I don't think so. That's not how that's going to go, I don't believe. And you know, if you follow me for long enough, there was a video I made a long time ago, and I said I want to see Wembanyama go to a good team. I don't want to see him go to a bad team. Personally, I don't. I know that he's a wonderful piece to have rebuild a franchise, and that's very necessary for a team like the Pacers in Utah. You know, they need that. So I'm not trying to. If they get that, that's a good thing for them. But what I'm saying is, for him, I don't want him to go to a situation where he has to start the process of the culture. Hell no. He should be going through a situation where the culture is already in place. He should be going to a place that have 17 championships already, going for their 18th. That's where he needs to be going. Starting this process of being that type of player. He shouldn't have to wait 7 years to be a part of that type of situation. In my humble opinion. That's where he needs to be, in one of those type of places. Because that's the type of player he is. Let's be honest. Where does he really need to be? We all know. Purple and gold. Y'all know where Wembanyama needs to be. The whole world know where he needs to be. The entire NBA knows where Wembanyama really needs to be. Right here. Am I saying that as a Laker fan? Not really. Not really. No. I'm saying that as somebody who knows exactly how to make the money the NBA is looking to make. Just like you wanted Braun in purple and gold, you want Webb in purple and gold. You do. We all do. And if it ain't going to be Lakers purple and gold, then it'll probably be something like the New Vegas team. Whatever the new Vegas team would be, you want him there. Or New York, the Knicks. Yeah, finally turn the Knicks around. That would be a great place for him to become a billionaire right away. He's going to be a billionaire right away anyway, just off the strength of the Nike deal or whatever deal he signs with. They're going to make him a billionaire, you guys. I expect this deal to be way above anything we've ever seen. I really believe that. I remember what they gave Derrick Rose. He can demand that. He can demand more than that. Yeah, I expect record-breaking deals because he's gonna look. He's gonna look at what Bron got. He's gonna look at Michael Jordan and all that stuff, and he's gonna want a ground level deal of something that could build up to that. I know it. I know it. That's the only way to play it when you have that echelon. You want the pinnacle. You want to break records in every single thing you sign. Yo, Gatorade deal need to be the highest. Yo, everything. If they're playing it right, he breaks all records. So when I tell you guys that he has the leverage to go to any team he wants to in the beginning of his career, I'm not exaggerating. I'm not kidding. I'm not mistaken. This is a fact. He gonna have that leverage. Now, whether or not he chooses to use it or whether or not it's in his best interest to try to do all that, I don't know. But if he says, look, I'm only playing for the Lakers and that's it, or I'm going back home, or I only play for the Knicks and that's it, and I'm going back home, he's going to end up on the Knicks. He's going to end up on the Lakers. Believe that. And I wonder if he knows it. He probably doesn't know that. It doesn't benefit the people around him necessarily to say, hey, yo, you know you got the leverage, right? You can pull that. He really could. Everybody's trying to move heaven and earth for him. He can just say, bro, I only want to play for one team, so it don't matter what y'all talking about. That would mess the whole NBA up. It really would. He's literally doing everybody a favor by not doing that. And see, the flip side is, if he did something like that, what would probably end up happening is they would try to make life hard for him on the back end of his career. A la Dwight Howard, all the great stuff that he's supposed to be getting at the end, they just keep him from those things. Nah. That's how they do it. Because they can't do anything to him now. They're going to send him right where he wants to go, to the Lakers. He go wherever he want to go, do all that. But if any injury issues start coming up or something like that, he gets the book. That's how they get you on the back end. I've watched him do it to a couple stars now in my life, so that's what I would tell Wembanyama. If you play the game fair, you'll end the game gracefully. But if you play the game bullying people and kicking, pushing your weight around, they will resist you later on when you're not looking. Yeah. That might be part of what's going on around here. The demonstration of all of this stuff that people are doing. Hey, we will expose this. Hey, we will do this. They are possibly in my mind as it goes into places, possibly trying to prepare the next generation for what they're willing to do to keep their leverage against them. And if Wembanyama happens to be the top dog, that's exactly who they're trying to warn. Like, look, bro, don't try none of this stuff these old stars are doing right now. See how we doing these dudes? Don't try that. Because he will have more leverage than them. The guys that came before him. He will have the LeBron James rollout treatment. At least to start, until he proves he doesn't have that longevity that Bron has. Out the gate, he going to have that type of, they're going to give him the red carpet. So, yeah, I think a lot of that might be preparing for that in a way, for his arrival. Like I told you guys about 7-8 months ago, the boogeyman is coming. Wembanyama is changing the NBA forever. Forever. They're gonna look at things differently, man. Because now they realize they have to keep anticipating these type of unique talents, man. As I was telling you guys in a previous video about this. They know more of these dudes is coming now. So it's like, okay, we didn't know Wembanyama was coming when Zion was back here, but now that a Wembanyama came to trump a Zion, you gotta expect something's gonna trump a Wembanyama or at least match it. At least match it. So it's like, all right, let's prepare ourselves for the youth movement more so than ever. And that's what we're entering, that mindset in the NBA. So yeah, man, that's where I'm at with it, man. I'm excited about these young teams because of it. Orlando, Detroit, Houston, Cleveland. Now, Cleveland's kind of like that. I guess they're considered a young team in a way. They got a mixture of both. And then the teams that don't have the pieces yet. Indy, San Antonio, Utah. Give it 2-3 years, they're going to have a bunch of crop of young players too. Some of them already got the beginning stages of that. It's a couple of Some of these guys are really exciting players. So, you know, uh, if anything, we just continue to watch preseason. Hopefully, no scandals pop back up. They get us all riled up about negative energy in the NBA. I want to talk about basketball, and that's it. I don't want to talk about nothing else. So hopefully we can get a little bit of that going for ourselves as this preseason continues to roll on. I'm excited about my Lakers. We look like we're going to be a good team this year, which is super exciting since we've sucked for the last year. So that is important that we get back to being competitive. And it seems like dust is being kicked up in Brooklyn slightly. So I got my eye on that situation, as I always do. But basketball-wise, as I told you guys, you're going to see, as I've been warning everyone, the manifestation of what is real about that Brooklyn roster is going to start popping up. It's not like what I was saying all these time wasn't going to start manifesting. You're going to see it with your own eyes. And now you're going to start seeing it. Patty Mills, nah, they shouldn't have paid him that. Trading the pick for Royce O'Neal, we're not going to harp on that too much. We're not. I've already killed that enough. I don't favor it. But you're seeing it doesn't work, man. These are not good pieces. People are telling you these are good pieces. These ain't good pieces. I like Claxton, but he doesn't have certain things that will allow him to take over, I don't believe. He's not like a shooter or nothing like that, even though he has excellent game and intangibles. He's a complimentary piece, He's going to need some help down there. Man, KD is an older guy now. He needs more help. Kyrie is an older guy. He's going to need more help. Ben Simmons is coming back from that injury. The back. Year off. It's going to take about a year for his conditioning to get back to the Ben Simmons that we know him to be, and that's assuming he doesn't have any setbacks. Setbacks that are inevitably going to be coming because of the physicality of his role on the team. He's the main defender who's going to have to be thrown at all the physical guys that are being, out there at that position. So with him having back issues and the issues he's had with his conditioning, how in the heck is he supposed to actually get healthy enough to do those things if he's going to have such a responsibility on both sides of the floor? In a situation where you expect him to go all the way to June, it's just like you're asking too much, and the players know it. Players know it. People want KD to express why he decided to rescind his trade request because they couldn't make a trade. He's still going out. The team's not good, man. I'm sorry. It's not a good team, bro. Ben Simmons is going to need to be in a situation that doesn't have as much pressure as what is being applied to him right now. I'm sorry. I'm just going to put it out there. He ain't ready for all that. He ain't ready for no championship win now, go back to being the old Ben Simmons self. He ain't that guy no more. So he's got to redefine who that is, and then, as a basketball player, be able to hold down that load physically once his conditioning comes back around. And the Brooklyn media, they're going to apply that pressure, man. They ain't going to wait. They don't care nothing about nothing other than making sure that they get something to talk about. So if his mental health is something that'll get them, get the story going, they're going to poke at his mental health. They're going to try to rile him up or whatever they got to do. And it's just going to deteriorate everything else around it, I believe. I'm not a believer. They need to put more of an emphasis on their young players, as I've told you guys. They got like a handful of them now. They just drafted. They can give them a good portion of the minutes. Throw them out there with the stars and see the best of it. Try to see if that'll be enough. Because if you're not raising the value of those young players, as we always say, Brooklyn ain't going nowhere. If they think they about to lean on Morris and some of these guys that we've already mentioned, if they think they're going to get to the finals and through the Eastern Conference, a young East with all these good teams, they ain't even making the playoffs. I'm telling you, the Nets ain't making the playoffs. They're not. But they're saying, it's Kyrie Irving's going to have to, it's about him. It's about him. The things that he does is not going to bring the things that they need to the point where they're going to win. It's going to be like, even if he goes for 60, they're giving up 75, 80 points on the defensive end. You know what I'm saying? It's like, KD can go for 40, 45 points, but if the team's not defending, if they're not getting any stops, it's just not happening, and they don't have the defensive players to get the stops. They're not there. That's what I'm here to tell you. They don't have them. So it's on them to score 60 and 50 points every single night. No, that's not realistic, man. They don't have the depth to keep them healthy. They don't have the depth to keep the stars healthy. They're doing what the Lakers did last year. They're going to have bad players behind them, respectfully. But this is for what I'm saying. They got bad players behind them, so they got to be on the floor the majority of the time. These are players that have health issues. Through injury history, how are they supposed to be able to get through the season? I mean, that's just common sense, man. It's just common sense. For those who follow the game well enough, it's common. That's what I'm saying to you. It's not common to everybody, but to me, yeah, man, that's common sense, bro. No. And that's, I think, what KD's looking at. I believe that's what it boils down to. His team ain't good enough. He's just not good enough. They're not on the path to getting good enough. And he's about to waste the next 4 years of his career, and he don't want to do it. He don't want to do it. They don't know how to build properly. They're not willing to build properly is a better way to describe it. If they were, they'd tear it all down and start properly. Instead of trading picks and stuff, I mean, I just have said it already. But we're seeing it manifest now. In the preseason, we're starting to see the struggles of the team. And like I tell you guys, I can't be a hypocrite. You don't pay attention to the score. Teams are trying things, coaches are trying things, blah, blah, blah. But let's be honest. They didn't make the changes they needed to make to get better. I say all that to say, if the Lakers would have came back with Frank Vogel, I would not be saying the same things about my team in regards to the preseason and our record. No, because I know the plan that we're on with us being 1-3 with Darvin Ham is a totally different thing than us being absolutely clueless 1-3 with Frank Vogel. I'm telling you that they're coming back with the same coach and the same problems and the same situations. How are they supposed to see to it that there's faith to apply? Into what? Into Steve Nash doing the same things he did last year? Respectfully, man, I'm not trying to see that again if I'm a Brooklyn fan. I'm cool. They should have fired their coach. Why hasn't that been done? Am I tripping? Am I tripping? Or is there absolutely zero reason for Steve Nash to still be there, y'all? Didn't KD say he wanted that man fired? Why he's still there? I know why you didn't fire the GM, but the coach, I don't get that. He should have been gone. You're playing with fire, Josiah. Playing with fire, sir. That defiant, I'm going to do what I want to do no matter what the players say. You're not going to gain nothing that way, bro. Your team's going to suck. I'm telling you, your team's going to suck. Just wait for it. So that's what I got to say. That's what I got to say, man. The Nets are not, man. All that I've been telling you is about to now manifest, y'all. With the Nets. Everything I've said. Go back and check out them old videos. I told you they ain't going to be no good. They're about to not be no good, man. It just is what it is. So, yeah. But the Rockets, they're going to be pretty good. The Lakers, I think we're going to be pretty good. All them other teams, good energy for all of them. Happy to see them. I'm happy to see the Nets, too. I'll be happy to see the Nets even more so if they just do what they need to do to just build properly, man. Get your picks and give Brooklyn a real team to root for, buddy. A real one. Not a slap together a bunch of stars and then put pressure on them that you know they cannot live up to. That is bull crap. That's bull crap. It don't work. That's what I gotta say, man. My name is BDO44. I thank y'all for watching.